I wanted to know, do you think we're in a post-marriage society? Because on one
Mm.
hand, we hear that women should wait till they're married to have sex, but at the same time, we also hear from the men that they don't want to get married anymore. So what do we do with that?
Seems like it's true because nowadays a lot of people are looking at marriage as a contract rather than a partnership. And there's a huge difference between that because with a contract, there are so many terms and many headaches and this and that and
Well,
numbers
it is a contract.
well,
Yeah.
there you
Women
go.
are
That's
paid to
why.
leave, yeah.
But that's because that is what it is now. Because realistically, the traditional sense of marriage is not a contract, really, in terms of the law. Once the law is involved, that's when everything went tits up. I think.
Yeah. So the problem is that there's zero advantage to marriage in the Western world for a man. There is zero statistical advantage. If you use your mind, if you use your head instead of your heart, and you look at the advantages to getting married, there are absolutely not really none. Because this new idea of new age feminism just basically destroys all men in the idea or in the event of her leaving. And it's very common that women leave, right? Let's stop the man versus woman attack, et cetera, et cetera. Life's difficult for everybody. We all have different challenges, different things to go through. But if a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak. Fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him, and he has to give that chick money forever.
In some places, you don't even have to be married.
Exactly.
That's why the men don't want to live with the women either.
That's right. So when you make these rules and these laws, right, under the guise of feminism and equality, all this garbage, all you're doing is scaring men away from commitment. And then you have to add in the other hidden element. And the other hidden element is what I said earlier, is whose fault a lot of this is promiscuous women, right? So when society's broken down, if women were saying, if all women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage, guess what men would do? Get married. But you don't, right? So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, like, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no. Bounce. See ya. No. So men have been scared away from the idea of marriage. And that's a lot of that is the fault of this new bullshit law and this new feminism and this new crap. They don't give men any tactical advantage. And I'm talking about small things. A man's not even allowed to be a man in his own house. Do you know in England you will get accused of emotional abuse? I can marry a woman, not lay a hand on her. I can just raise my voice at her. That's emotional abuse. I can raise my voice at her because she's going out drinking with dudes. She can go out drinking 6 nights a week with men. And I can say, what the fuck, you're my wife, sit down. She can call the cops, call me emotionally abusive. I get arrested now. Now there's a court case against me. I have to go to court and defend myself. She'll divorce me, take my house. I have to sell my car because she's drinking vodka with fucking God knows who.
But you notice that
What? It's
earlier on.
insanity.
What do you
But
what
you
do you
notice
what do you
that-
think of what do you think of child support?
And that's another interesting thing because a lot of these arguments, it goes beyond man and woman and it goes into the larger sphere as a whole, right? Because we talked earlier about war and how a lot of men used to die, and that doesn't happen anymore. So what you used to have in societies, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, I'm just commenting, right? What you used to have in societies is a bunch of men would die at war because men have more dangerous lives than women. There'd be a bunch more women than men. The top G's would impregnate a bunch of women, and the top G's could take care of the women, and that'd be et cetera, et cetera. That's now changed, right? So a lot of the reason that monogamy is pushed is because it's good for society, and it is good for society. It's good for society as a whole to have a man, a woman, a family. They're together. The man provides for the woman, et cetera. The government doesn't want to pay for all these kids. If you don't have child support, who's paying for these kids? The government does it. It breaks down, right? So that's why child support is enforced in many parts of the world. In certain other parts of the world, child support isn't enforced because they have religious beliefs or genuine family beliefs that keep the families together. But in the Western world, now you need child support because you've broken things down to the point where men don't want to be married to chicks. Chicks don't want to listen to the man. The man can't even be the man in his own household. He can't even feel respected where he goes. His woman gives him no status. And now he doesn't want to fucking deal with her anymore. So how do you get that kid paid for? Well, then tell the man or you go to jail. And you just come along with the fucking long arm of the law and you fuck him. And so, yeah, it's difficult.
It
It's
makes
hard
sense,
to
though.
answer. Yeah, but it's hard to answer. The true answer to all of it is an idealistic answer. I don't like to think idealistically and talk idealistically, but it's the truth. The true answer to it is to instill in the man a sense of duty in which he wants to take care of his woman regardless because that's his child. But you will do that. I'll tell you how you do that. You do that by inspiring out of the man by being a very good woman. So I'll give you an example. If I had a child with a woman, and she was always a great woman to me. She never cheated on me. She was a good woman to me. And I was running around being whatever. And she's like, look, I just can't put up with you anymore. you're top G. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to look after your kid. You can see him anytime you want. I care about you. Please don't leave me in poverty. I'd say, cool. 100%. I'm not a fucking dickhead.
Can I
cool,
say
I got
That's
you.
a
I got you.
real man though, because I was in a
lot of real
situation
men
just
are.
but I was just in a situation like that to where it's like hearts don't break even, and that's the reality too. It's like if those morals and principles are not instilled in a man, none of that shit matters. So obviously the child support stuff obviously hits close home to me because I'm already $50,000. It's just in lawyer fees trying to get him to provide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it sucks because it's like you play in the NBA. Like why don't you want to do more? And it's just because, again, of the relationship. It's personal. It's not about our
Personal.
son.
That's right.
So it's like, if you're not.
So
I just feel like it's like, why do you get money for making a poor choice?
Well, it wasn't a poor choice because it took
and
two.
I'm not trying to like disrespect you in any way. It's just like if you left, and
no.
so it's like, why do you get money
I
for it? It just
right
doesn't make
because
sense.
because we made a commitment.
That's
So we
it.
made at the end of the day, we made a commitment. We have a forever commitment. Fuck marriage. We are forever family. So again, as someone who is literally going through this, if I made more money than him, I would be paying him child support, and that would be fair to me.
But this is what's really interesting. What's truly interesting is if you go to other countries, and I'm talking about civilized countries, right? If you go to Poland or Czech Republic or whatever, these countries, which are in many metrics more civilized than the West, they're safer to live in, they're cleaner, etc. There's no child support laws. So if you have a divorce, the man just takes care of the woman because that's his kid and that's just what he's supposed to do and that's just it. So what you're saying is, you're right about the man having the morality instilled inside of them. And my point is that the reason a lot of this doesn't exist, the reason men don't have morality installed in them is not just about the individual case of the man. It's about society as a whole. It's about women as a whole, men as a whole, the dating game as a whole, the life he's living as a whole. And this is the world we live in. This is why I was talking about how dangerous new think is, because now we have this new think, this new world, and we're living in this new world. And the truth is, as a man, now the game has changed. In the game of chess, sometimes it's not about winning. It's about making sure you don't lose. If you can not lose, if you can not blunder any pieces and protect your king long enough, you'll win the game. And there's a lot of men who are now like, okay, how do I not lose? Well, you know what? I become fucking ruthless. That's how I don't lose. I get all my sex because the women are promiscuous. I get laid as much as I want. I don't let anyone fucking tie me into anything dumb. Any bitch wants to get fresh to me or fucking talk to another dude, I cut her off financially. And you just get ruthless so you don't lose the game. But that's because the game's been rigged against men. So the harder you rig the game against us, the more ruthless we're going to have to be to compete. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying why men do what they do.
Can I just say with regards to Brittany, I just think that with regards to child support, you got a kid, you look after it.
Hey,
I do.
Not you, the men.
I was like, I do look after my son.
No, not you.
Okay, I was like, hold on.
That's why I said. No, that's what I said with regards to the
Okay.
child support. That's what I first said. I think that you have a kid that you should look after it. I don't agree with men giving the women money, but I think it's disgusting that a man can have a child and not support it.
So do I. But this is another thing. So this is the comments we have to make, right? Because we don't have all the answers. We have to make the comments on it. This goes into the deeper point. Every time a court rules in favor of a chick having $100,000 a month, that puts men off to a level. Like, it's fine if there was a baseline child support, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. That's if you have a kid, baseline, regardless of income. If your man wants to give you more, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. But when you come along and start saying this % of a man's income, do you have any idea how scary that is to a man who works for his money? He works for his money. And do you know why it's scary? It's not just because he's giving his money away. It's because he knows he isn't giving money to the kid.
Yeah.
The kid, you can raise a kid on $500 a month in most of the world. You want that kid in Gucci, you in a nice car, going on dates with another dude with my money. I'd rather burn the fucking house down than to give it to you under
they
those
should
fucking
make
circumstances.
vouchers in it.
I think
Make vouchers for child support.
I just think it incentivizes poor decisions. Like I haven't gotten pregnant by someone, but like but I'm saying, but like you're gonna pay someone who's done that. Like why do they get?
No, but
rewarded
I'm
for it?
literally telling you that if I made more money than him, I would have no problem paying for my child. And child support laws vary in different states. So in North Carolina, for instance, if you make over combined of $300,000 a year, then you are considered off the grid. So then you have to prove this is how much your rent is. Any bill that my son occupies, I get a percentage of. So on the low end, it would be 50%. If there's a big enough salary gap, it could be up to 97%. In the court, the judge gets to decide what makes the most sense. So if my child's father makes $20 million a year from basketball, he gets to decide if $6,000 is a lot, if $8,000 or $10,000, whatever. But you have to prove that. So it's not like you just it's enough money for a Chanel bag. Like these are my son watches Peppa Pig. That's a cable bill. You know what I mean? So it's a percentage of everything. So you're not like just living it up. You're just living. So you're able to. There's a roof over your son's head.
My whole point is that like it's all down to choices, and
the man made a choice too because I can't get pregnant unless he nuts in me.
I understand that, but I'm
then there's nothing to argue. You understand that
you're the one that's you're in control of who gets born. Abortion's legal.
Okay,
as soon as he nuts, it's completely out of his control.
Listen,
can I just say something though?
Wait,
just playing
Auntie,
devil's advocate that I had my child and me and the dad went together, and I didn't take a penny from him, and the government wanted me to, but I decided that no, that he was better off that my child, I look after him myself. Anything he wants to give his son if he wanted to was extra, but I worked hard and I done it all on my own because it was just less. Because it's less headache. It's less headache.
And I know a lot of women that went that route.
My child.
It's unfair though that you have to think that he's not going to be a man and take care of his child. Don't you think that's unfair on you?
No, because he's my child and he's happy, and I'll give him what he wants.
Child as well. He made that child.
That's why I don't need a man
but the whole
attitude,
point
you
is
know.
you choose who you sleep with.
Listen, right, as far as
But he chooses as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, this is two to tango. What are we talking about?
I'm saying right now it's not fair because women have abortion that's legal. It's not legal for them.
Oh,
they get no say. They get no say, and the same thing with birth control.
I could have done, but it wasn't worth my time.
You can get
Why am I going to go and fight a man?
IUD. It's like 99.9%.
But what if the man wanted the child though?
That's exactly my point. So I was on birth. Let's just use me as an example.
My point. I think he should. I think he should take care of it. But I just don't agree with having legal incentives for women to leave. That's my point. He should give you money for the kid. If you have a kid, you should. But I just don't agree with
See, but the thing is, if men stood up and became fathers to their children, women wouldn't have
but if
to.
women
choose differently.
We're in control of who we sleep with. So at the end of the day,
that's not the point, because he agreed he wanted the child.
But you pick who you sleep with. So if you pick a guy that's getting girls pregnant left and right,
but she doesn't know that he's not going to be there. She doesn't know that.
If she married him, she'd be all right.
She trusted this man to be a father to a child, and now she's left with a child, and no one's going to support her.
Marry him.
Don't you think that's unfair?
Should have married him first.
I mean, you can get married.
Of course.
You get married in that.
That's what I'm saying. It's
You
just
think
like
marriage is what solves problems? Are you guys actually
No,
sitting
what I'm trying
here-
to say, marriage would have solved her
you don't
financial
talk- You've already
problems.
spoken, Auntie. Please don't cut me off. This is the problem, yeah? Stop acting like every woman that leaves a marriage and gets divorced is because she's this and she's that. There's a lot of women that suffer and they actually need the support and the legal incentive so that they know when they leave, somebody can back them up because they'll be on their own. Stop acting like men are angels because there's a lot of men that are dealing with a lot of the traumas that they have from a man's world being difficult. The same way that Andrew Tate explained, a man's world is highly competitive. Men are out there suffering. It is hard to be a man. And a lot of the time, the person that takes the brunt of it is the woman. So yes, she's well within her right to leave, take her child, and be in a better place. And the government should step in to make sure that that man that made her make that decision steps in for their kid.
Can I say something?
The time that she takes to take care of the child is the time that she doesn't have to go to work. So she's already down on income, and she's having to be taking care of the child on her own. That don't make sense. Not every man is a bloody angel, and not every woman is a devil.
Don't pick men.
Wait, hang on a minute.
I'm gonna leave. Go ahead.
Hang on a minute.
How do you do that?
When did I say a man was an angel?
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that?
I'm talking.
No,
I waited.
Yes, you
I
did.
waited.
You
Right?
did.
So now it's my time to talk.
Talk to me.
What I was saying to her is, right, is that if she had got married first, then she would have been all right. She would have to be fighting through the court. So the same law that you're saying would have supported her and her child.
And
that is the difference
It still
between
supports
getting
her.
married first.
No, the
and that's
only
what I'm saying.
difference-
And that's what when people
Getting
were saying
married
about.
just gives you more money.
Hang on a
It's
minute.
not a divorce
Listen.
and kids.
You just
It's not a good decision, yeah?
Excuse me, but I shut up when you were talking.
Go on, apologies, my auntie.
Right.
I didn't mean to disrespect you.
So what I was trying to say is that there is an incentive when women get married first and have children. Because I'm not saying that you, I'm just saying women in general. If a woman gets married first before she has a child and then it leaves, then it's totally different. Like he said before, she's set up for life. If she
But
leaves,
auntie, just
she's
like
set up for
Tate
life.
said.
So if somebody
set up for
else,
life without marriage, though. That's the point.
No,
That's
and
even
that
not what we're
is
discussing
Usually what
right
you want to
now.
hear.
No, and as a person, again, let's ask somebody who's actually going through it, because none of you fucking know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to child support, lawyers, none of that shit. None of you fucking know, okay? So you don't. The reality is, if I would have gotten married and did everything right and did everything the moral way, right? guess what? All I would have on top of what I'm going through with child support is alimony. So I'm still in the courts fighting, whether I'm married or whether I'm not. So that I get what you're saying, because hey, you at least get the commitment to, maybe back up that he's gonna be there, but it doesn't ensure anything. Everybody wants a fucking guaranteed thing. There's no guaranteed in life.
We're talking different places. When you're in America and you're married and you divorce, you still got to fight for your money. And would you still
Yes,
not
you
in
have
England.
to get a lawyer.
Right, not in England. In England, you get a lawyer and it's sorted. That's the difference. You wouldn't have to be going there saying, "Oh, I need this for my child and I need this." Once you get divorced and you go to court,
you
it's
still
that
need a
much.
lawyer.
Alimony and child
You
support
need
are
a
different.
I'm saying she just spent £50,000. She's still fighting. You have to pay
but
that
even
here.
when you're
You
married
would
in
not
the
have to
UK,
pay
you
that
still-
here.
She's in
You
dream
would
land.
not have to
That's
pay that
why.
here. You would not have to pay that here. Do your research. You would not have to pay that
But you
here.
still need a
When you
lawyer.
get divorced, she wouldn't be going for all the battle that she's going. It'd be simpler in England to
No,
get divorced than
in
in
England,
America.
maybe.
She will still
Maybe
that's
take
what
your
I'm
money,
saying.
boys.
It's still
In
not
They'll
England,
take your money. Don't get married. Have a parental partnership. Love your woman. Pay whatever you
I
need to
just
pay
want
for
to
your
make
kids.
a point. You know what you were saying? Get married. Even Tate said it himself. Men don't want to get married anymore.
Why are you not turning what he's saying? Why are you not twisting what he's saying? You're not even listening to what he's saying.
It's not attractive anymore. It's more at loss for a man to get married.
You're taking what he's saying and you're twisting it to suit
What
yourself.
did you say?
I'm not. He literally said, Tate, didn't you say that men are scared of getting married now?
What, yeah, okay, but why?
Because, like you said, with child support, they feel like there's no advantage.
That's-
So
And the alimony,
you say
it's
just
alimony.
get married. It's not that simple because men don't want to marry you.
Okay, so let's analyze that point. And first thing, back to the child support thing. What's actually interesting to talk about is there's a lot of countries in the world where there is no child support system and it functions, right? So you have to, if you want to pay attention to actually, learn about society as a whole, it's very interesting to study all the different societies and economies in which there is no child support and children don't die. I mean, people get divorced and they still find a way to function. And it's interesting and it's a very long conversation because it extrapolates about how the whole society works as a whole. That's the first point. Second thing, I'll actually sit here and argue the point that I don't think any man really ever wants to get married. I think that women convince him to get married. And I think that any woman who is genuinely serious about convincing her man to get married could do it. I don't think in the modern world, at least, men wake up and go, can't wait to get married. But what they do is they get a chick who's so good and ticks so many boxes and makes them so happy. And she'll sit there and say, you know what? It would mean the world to me. Please. And he'll go, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, then. And that's what happens. So I still think you can convince 99.9% of men to marry you. The point I was making is the society isn't convincing the man to marry you. It's not like it used to be where the man believed he had to be married. Society's done the opposite. So it's your job as a woman to make it clear to him that it is worthwhile. Mm-hmm. Once again, how would you convince a man it's worthwhile for him to say, that's my wife? Status. That's how you do it. This is a misunderstood hack to men as a whole, is status. If you can convince that man, but by marrying you, his status will increase amongst his peers, he's going to do it. And for anyone out here who disagrees with me, the things men do for status, let's actually analyze how baseline men are. What is status? Status is respect, right? Men kill over respect. Gangs kill each other over respect. A man will smash another man's face in for insulting him. We will die for respect and status. You tell me we won't get married? We'll die for we'll go to the front line of a war, and the only reason we don't walk away and abandon our post as artillery shells rain is because we're afraid of being mocked for being a coward. We'll die for status. So status is what it's all about. It's what it's always been about. If you want a man to marry you, status. And it's the same thing with nearly anything you want to do with a man. I don't know anything about your personal life. I'll be honest. I don't know, right? But I'll tell you this now. If this dude, this NBA player, believed that he would be higher respected amongst his peers and amongst society for taking care of you properly, that's what he'd fucking do. He doesn't feel that because either he's rolling with the wrong people or you've pissed him off in a way or something public's happened. I don't have a clue. But something's happened where he feels like if I take care of her, I'll look like a bitch. That's what he's scared of. If it was inversed, he had no problem giving you money because that's how men function. I'm telling you right now, as a man, I'm telling you what I would do. If I had a chick with a woman, right? And she went on the news, top G's this and fucking, like I said, I have no idea what you've done, but I'm just giving my personal made up scenario.
Oh, yeah.
She would go on the news, top G's this, and he fucking lied to me. He's a piece of shit, da-da-da. And then I bought her a Bentley. Women's were like, well, look, she insults top G, she insults him, and he's a simp, da-da-da. But if she was like, you know what? he's misunderstood. He's a good guy. It just didn't work out. Boom, boom, boom. I'd bet she'd be in a mansion, right? And would that be me being a nice guy, caring about her? Or let's be honest, would it be me being a selfish piece of shit dude and saying, what makes me look better? Men are all about status. Is how we function. It's how we function as a whole. So society, this is where it extrapolates. It gets interesting. When society with this new think has destroyed all of the baseline humanities and baseline understandings of how men interact with women. And now all the things we previously understood about what made a good man, what made a good woman, and how we should act together and how we should interact has been erased. Of course men are acting like dickheads, and of course women are doing wrong things, because nothing makes sense anymore. You've taken the chessboard and moved all the fucking pieces around. Nobody gets it. It should be very simple. I'm a man, I work hard, I take care of my woman. I'm the man of the house. She treats me with respect. She would never insult me or raise her voice to me in front of other people. She's a problem. She brings it to me in private. We act as a team. We work together. If we break up, she was a good woman to me. She fulfilled her roles the best she possibly could. I'm still a man. I'm going to take care of her. But all of that is gone. All of it's gone. All of it. And it's gone because of all the ideas we were discussing earlier. The feminism, the new age bullshit, the fucking dudes left and right and center. All these things... All these baseline things have eroded society to the point where now you have men ignoring their paternal instinct. You have men who will sit there and go, that's my child, but I fuck her. That's actually a massive observation to make about how fucked up society is. And it shouldn't be that way, because men in a lot of the world are not like that. And so you have to look at all these small things, the small things we talk about. It's no big deal. She goes on boats in Miami. It's no big deal. It is a big deal, because now that dude ain't going to want to fucking pay child support because you were on those fucking boats with the other team.
And the thing is that before...
Do you think that men...
That was well said, Sagittarius.
Thank you very much.
Do you think